Hey everybody, Happy New Year! First video of the year. Hope everyone's doing good. And thank you all for being here. Hope everybody had a good, safe, healthy slide into this new year. And we're going to talk about a whole bunch of stuff today. This is this is the segment where we cover your top questions, the top things on people's minds, and there's something there for everybody. So, as usual, let's jump in. But before, a word from our sponsor. Sponsor today is coffee. This is brought to you by coffee. Thanks all for being here. Of course, this channel's about giving back, not taking. So let's go. Math, money, and freedom in a brand new year. And this is your favorite entertainment, edutainment on the internet. So let's go. First question is from everyone. I had so many of these questions, too many people to list. So the question is, if you had no Bitcoin, would you buy some now? What chances there of the number going down or going to zero? It sounds like a really obvious question, simple question, but there's a few aspects to it. So I'm going to answer it a number of different ways. Number one, adoption is not going to stop. This is a cool chart here from the World Bank, and it compares internet adoption when it began in the year 1990 up to the year 2000, 2001, when it really took off. And it got to over 1 billion users. And it compares crypto adoption, started in earnest in about 2014. And we are at the verge of about 250, 300,000 users, depending on 300 million users, depending how you look at it. And we are on track to blowing through 1 billion users in a very short window of time. So the adoption is faster than the internet. The question is, do you want to be a part of something that's being adopted faster? And the other key piece to this is words from Michael Saylor. As you know, I'm a big fan and I love everything this guy does. But he basically said, in a nutshell, that the chances of Bitcoin going below where it is now over the next 3 years is less than 1%. So I'll put that another way. If you imagine Bitcoin is at 47,000, it's been there for 32 days now. It's gone through 47,000 21 times. It just went through a few minutes ago and back up above 47K again. And hopefully the juju from this audience will bring it higher than 47 before we finish. But basically, if you were to buy Bitcoin at $47,000 today, he says there's a 99% chance it's going to be a lot higher over the next 3 years, as long as you have that 3-year time frame. The thing about this thing is it's very volatile, as you know. But there's a 1% chance it could be lower. So for those who are thinking about investing in Bitcoin, what do you want to be a part of? And there's a couple of other things that we'll talk about later as well that shows you how important Bitcoin is in so many different areas. So there's a few other things I want you to remember. These are some numbers that I speak about all the time. First of all, 83% of all people that hold Bitcoin are long-term hodlers. They do not sell. Now, we saw that in the last crypto winter after 2017 run. 83% held from 20,000 all the way down to 3,000 and all the way back up again. They hold. Okay, it's one thing that just people do with this thing. The other thing is 1% are lost every year, which means technically we are on the cusp of being very deflationary. And about 1.5 million Bitcoin are technically for sale. So that may sound like a lot of Bitcoin, but for a planet of nearly 8 billion people, no, it's not. Now, 100,000 Bitcoin are being drained from the exchanges every month. At this rate, we'll have nothing left in 13 months. And treasuries and high net worth individuals are gobbling up Bitcoin quicker than you can imagine. Now, the most important thing, I love this one, is of the 57 million millionaires on Earth, 95% chance have no shot of ever becoming a whole coiner or joining that prestigious Bitcoin whole coin club. So think about that. We're so early. The adoption is so early. You're getting in early. And as Michael Saylor says, there's only 1% chance of downside, as long as your time frame is 3 years plus. So that's the answer. Hope that helps. Now remember, all bets are off if there's a black swan event like a war or something else. So that's where we are. So second question, are you aware of a source that charts stocks in Bitcoin terms rather than US dollars? I love this question from Brian J. It's very, very important. And I'm going to start with Jeff Booth. And we did 2 interviews with him last year. And he always talks about this. You cannot measure the system from the system, from Jeff. And what that means is when the denominator is fiat and the fiat is debasing, it makes no sense to use that as a margin. So I like the way you're thinking. Second of all, there are many charts out there. There's many tools. Just search Tesla, BTC, TSLA, BTC, and look up crypto chart. You can build it in TradingView. You can search it anywhere. It's on CoinGecko. There's many, many other places. But I love this perspective because it gives you a very different view of the world. So if you think about so to some people, this chart may not make any sense. It's like Tesla divided by Bitcoin. What the heck is that? But think about this. How many Bitcoins does it take to buy one Tesla share? And the answer is 0.02286 Bitcoin. Now, you can do this on most charts, as I said before. But if you look at the performance over the last 6 or 9 months, it's gone up a little bit. But there's another way as well that I like to look at relative performance. And this one. And this is Tesla versus Bitcoin 5-year chart. Here you see Bitcoin's up 6,700% in 5 years. Tesla's up 2,500%. They both did extremely well. Mind-blowing returns. Most of the Tesla returns happened in the last 3 years, a little bit less. And that's where we look at. So again, don't measure the system from the system. Thank you, Jeff Booth. True pearl of wisdom there. So I hope that helps. Next question. This is from Ivan B. It's related as well. I bought a Tesla stock for $700. Plan to keep it long term. My mistake was buying it on Revolut. Now I want to close Revolut account, but cannot move the stock somewhere else. So I'm thinking selling it for current price, then wait for some dip back to 700, 750 and buy it back again. Is that a sound plan? Ivan, I have some news for you, and it's not a sound plan, but there's a lesson here for everybody as well. It's kind of funny because people who were born in crypto start trading and moving to equities now. It's hilarious, but they think they can download their shares like they can with crypto. It's not the way it works. That's first thing. Second lesson here for everybody to learn is have a good exchange. It's very, very important. Don't muck about with crappy exchanges. You will get fleeced sooner or later in a number of different ways. Stick with quality exchanges or brokerages. Now, let's talk about Tesla in 2022. My view of the world. As you know, I'm a huge Tesla bull. If you heard from this channel last year, you heard me spoke about it a lot. But 2022 is going to be mind-blowing in terms of returns. Now, this company is absolutely incredible. It's been life-changing to many people, including myself. But I see Tesla going at least $1,400, $1,500 this year. Bear case scenario, $4,500 if they do nail FSD. Now, I have FSD. There's a couple of little bugs in the latest edition, so we're testing it out, but that's what it happens. They take a step back to take 2 steps forward every time. But let's talk about some of the good news for 2022. 1, Giga Berlin and Giga Texas are opening. That'll double the capacity. Boom, out of the gate. China is doubling capacity. The demand far outstrips supply. Audience, go to the Tesla website and try order a Model X for $130,000. You will not be able to get delivery until January 2023. They're so backed up. The demand is so high. You can't get one of these cars for love nor money. I'm very grateful to be on the list for the Cybertruck. And that's coming as well this year, which is going to be great. Now, FSD could hit per Elon Musk. He sounds quite confident. I'm not as confident as he is. Margins are increasing. The new 4680 battery is coming out. The new compact maybe will be launchable design, etc. And Cybertruck Mumbai could open as well. Tons and tons and tons of good news. Again, all bets are off for the Black Swan event. I do not see us going to 750. No chance in hell. The floor for me was, as I said many, many times last year, after the spike and then the dip, we'd retrace to 850 to 950 range, and we got down to about 880. That's the new floor, as far as I'm concerned. And hope that doesn't disappoint you too much. And this can be a problem as well. Selling an equity, getting your money off the exchange, moving it somewhere else, and who knows what the price will do in that time frame. But don't wait for 700, 750. It's not going to happen. Next question is from Untraceable. I have 14K in a rollover IRA. Is it worth the tax charge to cash out and throw that into Bitcoin? Or is it better play to sell some money out of index funds and into BITO, GBTC, Tesla, Microstrategy, etc.? So good question. A couple of different ones here that we'll break down. So first of all, real simple. If you have an IRA, it's not really worth, I don't know your tax situation, but it may not be worth the tax penalty to take it out. Why don't you just keep it in there and buy GBTC? It's still at a discount. And per my 2022 predictions, I do believe GBTC will roll into a spot ETF by June 2022. So you can also buy Tesla or other types of assets, but there's no need to take a tax hit. And of course, this is not financial advice, but it really depends on your tax situation. You might as well just park it in there, switch out of whatever you win, and if it's any type of decent IRA, you should be able to buy a whole bunch of stuff. So next question. This is from Craig B. I just started crypto in October 2021, put in about 20,000. Everything has dropped between 20 and 45%. Should I just wait it out or sell? Bitcoin, ETH, Sol, plus a few altcoins that I have. So this is a sad one. It's, probably the most important thing in investing is timing. Timing is absolutely everything. Timing and time series. And this is a little bit of a problematic one. But let's look at the roller coaster from when you got in to where we are. So if we zoom this up a little bit, you can see per October 1st, we had a complete crazy escalation up to an all-time high and then right back down again. If you look at this, it's almost a perfect triangle. From whatever it was, 47K straight up to 67K, back down to 47K. So up 30%, down 30%. So the best way to dig yourself out of this hole is if you have strong conviction, for example, a 3-year time frame, definitely hold. Think about some of the other alts you have. Some are speculative, but Bitcoin is a core asset that will go up over time. It'll be volatile, but it'll go up over time. If you can as well, this is where you dollar cost average down and reduce your cost basis. If you can. I know that's hard for some to do, but that's what I would seriously consider doing as well. And again, lesson learned here is, don't go all in at a certain point in time, but dollar cost average when you can. And check out my video, DCA on steroids. It shows you how to kind of pick tops and bottoms and enhance your dollar cost average strategy. So next question. This one is from Sander Van W. What do you mean when you say taking profits? Is it cash or swap it into other cryptos which are undervalued? This is a great question. So unfortunately, there's not an easy answer. So I do a combination of things. One, I chase alpha. I look for the highest returns. I don't care where it is. If I believe gold was going to explode or uranium, I would be investing in that stuff. I don't. But my plan A is one, find a faster horse. So I try not to hold cash at all costs. And I move it into things that are either oversold or super valued. That could be Google, Shopify, Tesla, Microstrategy, Bitcoin, Luna, Solana, etc. That's where I kind of rotate money around. I do not hold cash, but I do have to hold cash for certain things like paying taxes. And I did a lot of tax selling as well to raise cash because I have to convert some stuff in January in about 19 days. And they are leaps that I bought on Google and Shopify. And I had a lot of questions as well about leaps and people should I recommend leaps. I want to give you a quick example of a leap position I have on Google. So first of all, I have the Google January 21, 2022 $1,000 calls. The $1,000 is the strike price. It expires in 19 days. So when it expires, I will be receiving Google shares, 100 shares for every contract. Imagine I have 5 contracts or 10 contracts. That's 500 to 1,000 shares. But I have to pay for them in cash. But I have to pay $1,000. Currently, Google's trading at nearly 3,000. So I'm basically getting 2/3 off the price. So I'm buying them super, super cheap. And that's why you buy leaps. A lot of people have a tough time wrapping their heads around that. So to reiterate, I have the $1,000 strike leaps on Google, converting in 19 days. Cost basis will be $19,610 per contract. Okay, so that is what I have to pay. So the cost basis is $1,000. Sorry, I'm getting all confused here as well. It's kind of confusing. Each contract is now worth $190,000. For example, if you convert your cost per contract at $100,000. Let me put it another way. I'm getting all tied up with too many numbers here. But basically, I have, say, 5 contracts. I will need 5 times $1,000 times 100 to be able to buy all of those contracts back. So I need a lot of cash. And that's exactly, so it's basically $500,000. But the real value here, everybody, is to understand how you can easily buy, say, 10 contracts of Google. Yes, it'll cost you a lot. It'll cost you $200,000. But that 10 contracts becomes $2 million within a year or so. And that's the power of these leap options. And that's why I need to raise cash, because I do want to possess, just like Google and Tesla are the only 2 things that I hold in equity form. And then I sell calls against them long term to generate perpetual income. So that's kind of my long-term strategy. Now, next question is from I Love Chicken Rice. If you have no tax concerns, how would you reallocate your crypto portfolio right now? So this would be a dream, and it would change everything about how I operate. So first of all, I'd be day trading like a madman, but I'd identify patterns. For example, the Bitcoin at 47K, and literally just day trade, get in and out. You can make $1,000 a day on 1 Bitcoin very easily, conservatively. So that's what I do. I just rack up those gains. I would also identify rotations. For example, you see money flowing from different layer 1s to the others, like Solana, Phantom, Avalanche, Luna. They are not in sync. They rotate differently. I'd identify that pattern and rotate through all of those. And I'd trade mostly off of technical analysis. I'd sell overbought stuff and buy oversold stuff. Real simple. But remember, everybody, this is important. So back in the 90s, I did a lot of options day trading. It's extremely stressful. But the beauty was the stock market's only open 6.5 hours a day. Can you imagine doing that now? 7 days a week, 24 hours a day with crypto? You'd go out of your mind. So be very cognizant of the stress involved in day trading, everybody. I much prefer, like the Google returns, throw $20,000 at a leap contract, and that becomes, at 10x's in a year. So that's much easier than the stress involved in this type of stuff too. So hope that answers your question. Next question is from Trally Dave. Is it possible for banks or government to close traditional on-ramps to crypto exchanges? And if so, how do we outside traditional high street banks operate? So this is a great question. So sadly, yes, it does happen. You are dead right. Let's look at a couple of cases. The UK has tried. A lot of the top British banks and even top banks like HSBC based in Hong Kong operate heavily in the UK. They have tried to block crypto transactions, block on-ramps. But it is still possible to find crypto-friendly operations. There's a cool list, depending on where you are in the world. But check out list of crypto-friendly banks in your country. For example, there's a cool list from BitCourier of crypto-friendly banks in the UK. And a lot of modern banks too. Banks that don't depend on legacy, but banks that are kind of new charters that are trying to revolutionize the banking industry. They all tend to be crypto-friendly as well. But there may be a little bit more risk with those newer banks. So do your homework and definitely kick the crap banks to the curb as quickly as you can. Otherwise, your life will be made hell. Now, if you have an opportunity to buy, say, Bitcoin, if it crashes down to 30,000 again, like it was during the summer, and the bank spend a month messing with you, you weren't able to take advantage of that opportunity, that's a terrible situation to be in. So make sure you have your powder at the ready. So next question. What will keep whales from forever manipulating the market? From Anonymous. So this is a good one, and a lot of people are concerned that the crypto markets will be manipulated like the gold markets perpetually. So the way I see it is as follows. Whales, yes, they do manipulate crypto assets. You can see the big dump that happened a few minutes ago. It's pretty easy to spot. Now, but as adoption rises, each time they dump, snipers like ourselves will come in and buy cheaper assets like Bitcoin at lower prices. And all of this, of course, can be seen in on-chain data. The retail investors are beginning to buy dips much better, much faster than ever before. People understand the power of this and how pristine and how scarce this Bitcoin asset is. So as long as smart investors, DCA on steroids, I mentioned that twice already, check out that video. I'll put a link as well on this video when I'm done. but the whale influence will get smaller day by day. And eventually, the Bitcoin supply is just going to disappear. And there'll be no more manipulation. So that's the way I forecast it. Now, in terms of options and how they impact the market, that's a separate situation. I'll talk about that at another time. So next question, this is from Giordano. If you had 0 ETH and 0 SOL today, how would you position yourself on those network protocols? This is kind of interesting. A lot of people are trying to get off 0 with Bitcoin, and now they're thinking about getting into other stuff. So it looks like that's the top thought for the beginning of the year, how to get in. Remember, we won't be getting the parabolic returns we got last year, so don't have your expectations too high, but they could be good. Now let's talk about my game plan and what I do. I can't tell you what to do because this is not financial advice, but my goal has always been to have a 50-50 split between both my ETH bag and my SOL bag. I wanted equal amounts of each, but my ETH bag is 3.5 times larger than my SOL. When I began the year, I had very little SOL, or none. Now, I did stop buying ETH at 2,400, and I've been layering in hard into Solana since that time to try and get them on par, but I'll never be able to catch ETH unless I start selling. So much of my ETH now is in the long-term capital gain bucket, so I will be, perhaps, depending on performance of ETH 2.0, will be shedding some this year and reallocating it too, but I need to do my tax calculations. Now, my 4th largest bag after all this is now Luna, after Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana, and I buy that in the 60s. So from that, what you can do is think about maybe a 45, 10% Luna game plan as you go forward, and pick dips. I do see things like Ethereum, at 3,500 is a great price, and we were down at 3,500 just on the 29th of December, a couple of days ago. That's a place where I would believe Ethereum is extremely good value because it'll 3x potentially over the next year or so, especially as it goes very deflationary with the launch of ETH 2.0. Watching that carefully. So next one, the good news of today is your contributions, our donations. A big thank you, everybody. All the super chats get donated to helping animals and people, etc., in need all around the world. We have these 2 beautiful giants here. We have Krista and Lanang. Lanang is going to be released into the wild. She looks like she just got her hair done at the salon before she goes back out there. And Krista is mischievous and playful, and it will be a while before she can be released into the wild. So that is superb news, and a big thank you, everybody. We have sponsored hundreds and hundreds of animals in 2021, and will continue, in fact, hopefully ramp it up more in 2022. So thank you for that. And now I'm going to open up to some quick questions and also drink some mushroom coffee because that's our sponsor today. I'm kidding. So let me see if I have questions. And a big thank you as well to the moderators in the chat and everybody out there. And we have a bunch of questions. All right. All roads lead to Bitcoin out of the United Kingdom. I want to cash 50% of my SOL. Can you advise at what price I should layer out of it? I have bought it at 198. I need to layer out before June of this year. Yeah, I will be doing a SOL exit plan video, but I'm pretty confident we'll see 400, 450. And if the layer 1 market goes bonkers, it could go as high as 700. So think about that. And I do expect a lot of activity to happen in the next 1 or 2 quarters, right by June. So we'll see. But yeah, we'll be monitoring that carefully. And I, in full disclosure, disclose everything I do, every single trade. If I get out, you guys will be the first to know. So stay tuned. I'll be your thoughts on CleanSpark. It tanked pretty hard recently. All the miners got crushed. There's a couple of things happening with the miners out there. Now, remember, we got into CleanSpark at 10, shot up to 22, 23 within 4 weeks, went right back down again. I think it's just under $10 now. So the miners are getting hit because of a couple of reasons. One, the hash rate's crazy and competition is going through the roof. I always say, you should be able to repeat this for me, mining is a cutthroat business. It's a self-correcting mechanism. And as more miners come in, it gets more competitive. The hash rate goes through the roof. And then it goes to a stage where it becomes unprofitable. And we're bumping up against that now. People have thought, oh, let's just invest a ton of money in mining equipment and make a ton of money. and mint Bitcoin all day. It's not the way it works. It attracts a lot of miners, and that keeps the network safe. So CleanSpark also had an additional ding because they missed earnings because they're investing very heavily in rigs and deploying them as quickly as possible. They just hit 2 exahash, so they will still do well. But remember, the whole mining space has gotten hard. And in full disclosure as well, I sold my HUD 8 actually on Friday to harvest cash to pay for things like Shopify and Google stock. So thank you for the question. So, only ever have a tiny piece of your portfolio in miners. My miner holding compared to the rest of my stuff would be way less than 1%. So just to put things in perspective. Be careful there. The game report. I'm trying to put together a free course for crypto video gamers on tokenomics. Any good resources on the subject? Tokenomics of all the video games tend to be bad. Focus on metaverse and gaming primarily. The tokenomics always seem to be very inflationary. They are. The only way you can outstrip, and the reason I haven't invested in metaverse other than Engine, and I dabbled in Rally for a day, and then I have a little tiny position in Chili's, and I have one other, I forget what it is. But the only reason to play in those things is if the demand really outstrips the actual inflation, and then it's fine to do. And that can be the case with many tokens out there. I am looking into another deep dive in tokenomics for some of these gamers. I'm trying to identify how much they can scale in 2022 and how much price suppression will come from the inflation. So stay tuned for that. But in terms of the resources, you have to subscribe to all the top private resources. Some of those subscriptions are very expensive. They're like $10,000 a year and stuff. And that's what I pay for. So pretty much every subscription out there, I buy. We spend at least $50,000 a year on subs. So think about that too as well. But that's par for the course as you go out there. So Satya Iyer, what do you think of Near Protocol? It seems like it is what Sol was a year ago. So I did look at Near. It had the most incredible chart a while back. And I was looking at it before the year and it looked like it was going to pop, and it did. But it was also, that may have been due to Coin Bureau saying Near Protocol was good. Let me just check on my notes here. And hang on a second. I have to pop up. Missing. But I looked at it recently and I didn't get in because I can't remember exactly. Yes. I remember now. So when we look at we have a thing called the SCP profiler, and it's stat ranked Near very, very low out of the top 20 L1s. Let me pull up that exact number for you guys right now. Near Protocol was ranked number 14 out of 20 because their SC composite score was terrible. Their crypto compendium score was not, it was like 50% middle of the road. But when I benchmarked them with the team across all the other top 20 L1s, it came, it was like back of the line. Now, we are updating some of the data to look at some other additional dimensions to see exactly if it has gotten better. But again, nothing compares to the top 3, and that has not changed. And we have checked all those numbers again. It's Ethereum number 1, Solana number 2, Polygon number 3. And that's why we didn't touch Near. So thank you for that question. And again, I invest by holding very few assets. In fact, one of my commitments for 2022 is hold even less and be even more disciplined. I just had too much crap last year. And once you wander off your reservation, anytime I tried to be a degen, play with Solend or whatever, I lost. It was very rare, but even losing in crypto after such a crazy year is a pain in the ass. So, Satya, hope that helps you. JKS, now that you sold most of your equities, what are you buying in 2022? Again, I have proven to myself extreme rigor and discipline. I am absolutely insanely focused on things like Google and Tesla and Microstrategy. And I know where they're going and I know how to play them. I know how to time tops and bottoms, but I can't do it for 10 equities. So I am just going to really ratchet back the number of holdings I have. I cleaned out my closet on Friday and be very selective. It'll be things like Shopify, MicroStrategy, Google. I will go back into the biotechs, but I have to see them bounce. I think there's a ton of value in things like Teladoc. And I look at, again, Kathy Wood buying from 300 all the way down to 95 in Teladoc and still going in hard. So she knows something that we don't know, but I just don't know when that space is going to rebound. I think 2022 could be the year, but I have to wait and see. But for me, less is more. I don't need, 10 stocks. I need 3 winners that are sure things, and that's where I'm going to play. Now, if Tesla goes to $1,500 and they don't have FSD yet, I'll short it again, and I'll just play that cycle, and that's how I like to do it. But it's just too difficult to look at all of the cryptos. It's nearly easier to look at cryptos because we have built models that rank them nicely. But with equities, it's so hard to do. Even doing an analysis of miners takes so much time. But we're working on a new one too, and see exactly how the hash rate will tie back to the intrinsic value of these companies. Anyway, Aaron, what would you do a video on real estate and or retirement plans, how to manage your assets, earn money once retired? Yeah, I can share kind of my methodology and what I've been doing, but again, it's a long journey. It's a 20-year plus journey out there and how I do it, but that's probably a good idea. And again, you guys know I like things in thirds, and that's a good way to get started. But yeah, real estate is definitely a very interesting asset to own. Shane Coolin, Luna, a good bear market play. People taking money out of coins and into UST for high yield. Anchor protocol, Luna deflation, algorithmic burning. Yes, it is. There's a lot of goodness with Luna, but also there is potential risk. Now, the reason, Luna is now my 4th biggest bag, but I know that it comes with a lot of risk. Like, for example, if the US regulators hammer stablecoins, we're stuffed. We don't know what they're going to do. That's the big cloud hanging over my head. Now, the deflationary model and all of what's going to happen is potentially extremely good for Luna, and I believe it could be a good bear market play. But 1, I don't think we're going into a bear market just yet. And number 2, there are other good bear market plays as well. I remember, I think it was Chainlink was $20 yesterday. It went up 10% in a day. So it was one of the top performers. So you're beginning to see the market realizing the value of things like Chainlink. But Chainlink is far from perfect as well. It does have its inflation too. So Ceci D, has your conviction on retire on Sol changed as of now? Would you trade, sell ETH for Sol? I would. If I had no tax ramifications, I'd be holding all Sol, because I look at the growth of the chain. Nothing is growing faster. Just an interesting analysis, if you guys want to do, is look at the Phantom wallet growth compared to MetaMask growth. MetaMask, it took 5 years to hit the level that Phantom's nearly getting to within 6 months. I mean, it is just parabolic, and that's what I look for as well. So conviction has not changed, but the minute it does, you guys will know. And if there isn't a Sol killer out there, I will know, and I'm always looking for one. The question I ask myself every day, is Phantom the Sol killer? Is Avalanche a Sol killer? Is whatever else out there the Sol killer? And we haven't found one yet. Let me see. Dantres, would it make sense to make a compendium of countries ranking crypto friendliness, tax-wise, etc.? Love from Lisbon. That's a great idea. I started a kind of like a compendium for countries, but it was based on a couple of factors: quality of healthcare system, the stability of the government, the security, i.e. the risk of being shot on the streets or locked up, or your crypto being stolen, and crypto friendliness. It needs a little bit of a revamp because the world is changing very fast, and that's a great idea. But I think everybody now is looking for ways of getting out of the rat race and going to places that are retiring. In fact, I know tons of people in this community that are already retired in places like Costa Rica and Thailand and Vietnam. And now a bunch of people are moving to El Salvador as well. So That'd be a great idea, Dantes. Great question, and I will do that. I promise. Hell Sparrow, in your opinion, in the case of a non-nuclear war, which crypto coins go up and which go down? Yeah, I think people will go to stability. So if there is a war per se, like I've always had this thesis that Bitcoin will be that safe haven asset down the line. It's like, during end times, people hoard gold because, it's hard to confiscate, etc. But I do believe there'll come a time, I don't know when that switch is going to flip, but Bitcoin will be the safe haven asset. Now, if there is a war, things like DeFi and adoption will go to crap, and people will invest in kind of more pristine assets going forward. So I'd say, as I always say, 95% of crypto is going to zero, 5% will survive, and of that, 1% will do well. But you got to really do the work of identifying what that 1% looks like. Scoob25. I ran my own heating company, but wanted to give something back, so I sold my business, and now I'm teaching the trade. I'm in need of some hopium, as yours is the sweetest. Yeah, hang tough, man. Teaching is a great thing to do, but the problem is when you're teaching people to get started in the trade, they don't have any money. So it's going to be hard to monetize that. Think about finding ways of teaching at scale, like maybe doing Zoom courses or recordable videos that really have all the nuggets you need. And like I do a lot of repairs myself because you can't get tradespeople to come to your house. So I always go to YouTube with stuff I need to. If I got a fan refrigerator that's out, I'll go to find a YouTube video and figure out how to do that. But it's so hard to find good quality videos like that. So there could be a good opportunity there. So think about pivoting that teaching to scaling it globally. But I know as well, if it's heating companies and looks like you might be in the UK, the heating systems there are very different to the heating systems in other parts of the world, I'm sure. But anyway, try think about scaling and getting a nickel a chicken, as they say, and not doing classes because it'll be very hard to monetize that. C, you often mention how rewarding this year has been for you and how well it has taken a toll on your health. Please tell us how you plan on taking care. Yeah, it's I took a day off yesterday, which was fun. But yeah, it's still very rewarding and very fun. And I think the plan this year is to try exercise more every day. It's hard during winter when it's cold. Eat better. I eat very well anyway, but eat even better. And watch the toxins like sugar and stuff. So that's the plan. And sleep. Try getting more than 6 to 8 hours sleep if at all possible. But it's hard because sometimes we get crypto activity during the night, and that means we need to stay up. So, but thank you for that. And I'd love to be able to find the time to finish a book. We have a plan around a book. It's kind of structure is there. It just needs to be fleshed in. And Matt C, I'd like to know what your top 2 or 3 animal welfare foundations you think are worth contributing to. Oh, great question. So in this one, I love Sea Shepherd. I've been a fan for a long time. They do amazing work, but they're very under the radar. We have a couple of orangutan organizations we help that release them into the wild after some harrowing experiences when their territory gets taken away. And then a couple of other ones, things that help different animals in need. But we are all over the map, from Serbian dog shelters to you name it. But we have one person who does an excellent job vetting all the charities and making sure that it does help those in need. So Matsy, thank you for that question. And we're trying to put together a collage of all the animals we've helped as well. But thank you for that. And thank you for donation as well. Metabeers, Scoobs25, Playing with Pastels, Shane Coolin, Elise Moore, and Dog1. Want to wish you all a very happy new year. And Sue B, Kiwi Robin, Black Dog, Jim Sesams, Abdullah Muhammad, and a bottle of red. It's always the same usual suspects. But really, thank you all for being here. It's going to be an interesting year. It's going to be a lot of good stuff happening. But remember, take the time to find the winners. Go hard. Don't own 20 different things. That'll never, ever, ever pay off. Diversification is to protect wealth, not to grow it, as they say. And let's see what Bitcoin has done. We are still hovering just under 47,000. Thanks, all. Happy 2022. It's going to be great. See you soon.